bashku këtu në hapësirat e operës dhe baletit në Shkup për të ndjekur një prej eventeve shumë të rëndësishme sa i përket teknologjisë dhe inteligjencës artificiale, AI Tech Summit, edicioni i tretë me radhë a nivel global dhe i dyti këtu në Shkup, i cili sjell figura të ndryshme ndërkombëtare, të cilët merren me teknologjinë, merren me inteligjencën artificiale në përditshmërinë e tyre dhe janë ata katalizatorët të cilët në fakt na sjellin ndryshime të mëdha globale sa i përket zhvillimit të inteligjencës artificiale. Do jemi këtu për të biseduar me folës të ndryshëm, për të ndjekur atmosferën pak këtu, por edhe për të marrë informacione të ndryshme të cilat ata kanë për të na i dhënë, kështu që ju vazhdoni të qëndroni me ne. Do flasim për AI ose inteligjencën artificiale. Dim që ajo ka marrë para botën, dim që po kemi zhvillime me hapa galopant sa i përket teknologjisë, por jo vetëm. Edhe në fusha të ndryshme, AI apo inteligjenca artificiale ka luan dhe ka luajtur një rol shumë të rëndësishëm. Ajo po zhvillohet me një shpejtësi marramendse dhe po bëhet pjesë e jetës sonë të përditshme dita ditës edhe më shumë. Për të folur në fakt për inkorporimin dhe futjen e inteligjencës artificiale në futboll, kemi menduar që mund të hynë në teknologji, kemi ChatGPT, kemi edhe forma të ndryshme të inteligjencës artificiale, por që ajo mund të përfshihet në futboll, nuk e di sa prej jush ju ka shkuar në mendje. Kështu që për të folur për përfshirjen e inteligjencës artificiale në lojën e futbollit, për të cilën shumë prej jush jam e sigurt që bëni tifo të mëdha për ekipet të cilat ju i doni, ne do të flasim së bashku me Petar Veličković, i cili vjen nga Google DeepMind, një vend, një laborator i cili është i krijuar nga në partneritet mes anglezëve dhe amerikanëve, mu pikërisht për inteligjencën artificiale. Kështu që ndjekim këtë bisedë tonë. Hello, Mr. Petar. So you had a speech here in the AI Summit about AI interfering in the football scene. First of all, I would like to know if you are a fan of football. And if yes, in which part?
Yes, thank you very much. I indeed am a football fan. I have enjoyed watching it since I was little. So being able to influence some aspect of what goes on behind the scenes in the game of football was pretty exciting. We've done our collaboration, obviously, in partnership with the Liverpool Football Club in the UK, which I appreciate for being a very forward-thinking, data-driven club. They've started hiring data scientists and researchers a decade ago when that was basically unheard of in the realm of sports. Personally, because I come from Belgrade, I support one of the local clubs there, Partizan specifically. It's a bit of a painful time these days to watch them, but yeah, I try to watch football whenever I get the chance.
How do you think that AI can impact the football game in improving itself?
That's a great question. So one thing that I personally feel is that we won't really lose the human factor out of the game, no matter how advanced the AI systems get, because even if an AI system detects in the heat of the moment that something should be done differently on the football pitch, it is really tricky to communicate that to the players in a way that's not going to drastically confuse them, right? So really, a lot of things will still be left to the heat of the moment and kind of the creative spark that players will have in the moment. So I think that many things about football will always be magically human and will kind of stay that way. Where AI can be particularly useful, though, is accelerating the processes that coaches and analysts have to do regularly. For example, analysts and coaches have to look at many previous situations that happened in previous games and make sense across 22 players what is happening inside this situation, how can we improve it. It takes a lot of time just watching what happened before and making sense of it, because it's not a simple task for humans. So not as much time is spent actually then making decisions based on that, like doing coaching, new strategies, and figuring out how to more properly adapt to them, right? So we hope that with artificial intelligence solutions like the ones we developed, the AI will actually help tell the human experts where is it that you need to look, what are the most important players for the success or failure of any particular situation, so you can spend less time actually doing that analysis and a lot more time actually doing the creative and exciting part of coaching, which is actually doing decisions based on those outcomes. And I think overall, if coaches will have more time to do the creative side of coaching, it's going to lead to a more beautiful and diverse game for all of us as spectators.
If we understand correctly, we will definitely have the human impact there, but also the AI impact. What do you think will make the difference in the football clubs? Like you started with Liverpool, will they have like a chance more to the other football clubs so that they don't have maybe started already with AI tech?
Right, so I would say that Liverpool to some extent already had this advantage because they have been data driven for many years, and historically you can observe them managing to do a lot with not as much resources as some other clubs would have. So I would say in that regard, definitely they are going to have some first mover advantage here. That being said, there is nothing particularly special about the algorithm we have developed. In fact, we publicly released a huge part of it, which means that dedicated clubs now have a blueprint with which they might be able to implement some of these solutions for themselves. And this will lead to, I guess, a new axis in how football tactics are driven, because different clubs will have different philosophies on what are the important data to collect about players and how to best track their performance with respect to the outcomes in the game. And as you probably know, the performance of AI systems depends a lot on the data you use to train them, and clubs are unlikely to share data with each other. So this will basically create a new axis in how tactical decisions are being driven and what features are most important to take about the players when you make those decisions.
Tani ka ardhur rradha që të flasim rreth asaj se sa inteligjenca artificiale është etike. A duhet që ta mësojmë atë të jetë etike në produktin dhe në atë se çfarë na jep neve? Sa ne duhet të jemi etik në përdorimin e inteligjencës artificiale, a do të na zëvendësoj punën të cilën ne bëjmë dhe do të humbim ndoshta ne punët tona? Për gjitha këto pyetje do të na përgjigjet folësi i ardhshëm, i cili është Joris Krieger dhe i cili do të na flet pikërisht për këto tema. Sa është etike inteligjenca artificiale? E ndjekim. First of all, welcome here in Macedonia. Your speech was on behalf of ethical ways of AI. How ethical is AI now for the moment?
Yes, that's a very good question. And the main point of what I tried to bring across was that currently we are basically thinking of AI as this novel technology with a lot of technical opportunities, perhaps some technical risks. But what I think we really need to consider is that AI is being embedded in a system that has its flaws. It's repeating the decisions we made in the past, and these are not always beneficial decisions for everyone. And so I think currently we are insufficiently aware of the ethical aspects of AI in the broadest sense. And so how ethical is AI now? Well, I think there are a lot of good and useful applications, but I don't think we consider the ethics as much as we should.
There is a big discussion on intellectual property rights. Can we work on that regarding AI?
Yeah, so that's the discussion on intellectual property rights is part of a bigger discussion of who gets to benefit from these technologies and who has to pay the price. And I think right now we are in the process of determining who the winners and the losers of the AI revolution will be. And intellectual property rights is an interesting concept because it's been discussed a couple of times in our history with new technologies challenging intellectual property rights. For example, can AI hold a patent? When is it copyright infringement? But I think these discussions are really about who is providing the input for AI systems and what AI is trained on. How will they get compensated if it is used, if their work is used via AI? And how can we make sure that it's not just a small group benefiting from just gobbling up everyone's data and work and feeding it back to us while profiting from it themselves?
In this world where we have bad people and good people, can these bad people use AI on bad things, let's say?
Of course, and that's with every technology. It's a double-edged sword, and you will always have malignant actors trying to use AI for scamming purposes, for fraud, and so on. And so I think what we need to do is not just make sure that the space for these bad people is as small as possible, but we need to make sure that it actually that we incentivize people to do the right things with artificial intelligence through regulation, through social norms, through cultural discussions, through debates, and through events like this.
But can we teach AI to have its borders of use? So to say, for example, I cannot do this thing.
I'm not sure, and AI, as I conceptualize it, is a prediction machine, so it can help us with a lot of predictions, but AI doesn't know its own limits, and that's why it's dangerous to fully rely on artificial intelligence, because even something like ChatGPT, it will very convincingly provide you an answer that might be completely incorrect. And we've seen lawyers try to use AI in a courtroom with just made up court cases because the AI system did not know what it is talking about. And so one of the key things for us as humans is to understand the limits of AI and to make sure we use it appropriately.
We have started using ChatGPT every day for everything maybe, but what are the higher level of AI that we can use on everyday basis?
Yeah, so I think what you will see in the next years is that AI will become part of every product and service because it can help us live more efficient and more and richer lives, because it can save us from these mundane tasks, these repetitive tasks in our job and in our personal lives. So that can go from doing the groceries to the insurance to your electricity grid. All these aspects can be optimized with artificial intelligence. So it will be way beyond just ChatGPT generating funny texts or images. It will be embedded throughout society, and that's why it's so relevant to think about ethics.
How much do you use AI intelligence?
I couldn't do without AI anymore, actually. For preparing presentations, for doing research, for helping me understand certain texts, I use AI a lot to make me better informed and better prepared for interviews like this and sessions like here on stage.
E dim që sistemi arsimor është një prej sistemeve themelore kyçe shumë të rëndësishme në një shoqëri. Por, si mund ta përdorim inteligjencën artificiale në sistemin arsimor? Si mund ta përdorim atë në jetën tonë të përditshme përmes teknologjive dhe mjeteve të ndryshme? Sa shumë në fakt ne përdorim atë pa pasur, pa qenë të vetëdijshëm dhe pa pasur njohurinë që po përdorim inteligjencë artificiale. Mbi gjitha këto tema flasim me Eve Psalti, e cila do të na flet më tepër e sidomos në sistemin arsimor. A duhet fëmijët të bëjnë detyrat përmes inteligjencës artificiale? Ta zbulojmë së bashku. Welcome in North Macedonia, first of all. You come from Microsoft. You are a senior director of artificial intelligence, and we use Microsoft here a lot. So, how does Microsoft use artificial intelligence?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, half of our engineering team is working with our internal teams to integrate AI into the products that everybody uses, like Teams, Bing, Xbox. So we are kind of like customer number 0, if you will, and we try to integrate as much of these AI technologies in these products. But we also have a very diverse platform with lots of different AI models. This includes large language models from our collaboration with OpenAI, also the more traditional AI models around speech, language, decision that we developed over the past 20 years in our research centers. We have new categories of AI models like small language models, and of course we work with the open source community, and we partner with Hugging Face to bring a lot of these open source AI models to companies and developers around the world.
We use open AI intelligence like all the day, all the time, but not really. We don't. We that don't use we are not from the IT, from the technology. Maybe we don't recognize it. So how can we see parts of international artificial intelligence in our daily use? Where can we recognize them?
Well, I would say like one example that we see become more prominent is in the education space, where educators need to spend more time, more personal time, coaching and working one-on-one with their students. They can use a lot of artificial intelligence technologies to develop their lesson plans, to grade tests much easier, much faster, identify and cater to students that have some learning disabilities. And we also developed a lot of tools like the immersive reader, who are specifically designed for students with dyslexia, dysgraphia, and other learning disabilities. I think in our everyday life, I'm not sure if people are using Teams as their collaboration platform. You don't have to take notes anymore. AI will help you take notes of a phone call. It will identify the next steps. So you don't have to do that, and you can focus on the core work. And also if you have a lot of international teams, it can translate right on the spot. So yeah, these are kind of some of the things that we see every day.
Should we be scared of AI, or we should accept it with open arms?
That's a great question. With any new tech that comes into the spotlight, we have to be curious, but also we have to be very cautious at the same time. Obviously, I'm biased being in the engineering side because we want to push ourselves to innovate at a pace that creates that kind of like growth into the overall space. But at the same time, we want to do it in a responsible way. So responsible AI is a core component of our engineering strategy. I think we're the only company that has actually a chief responsible AI product officer. So we were one of the first to develop responsible AI best practices. And we also develop tools for developers and data scientists to actually test how traceable, how fair, and how ethically kind of like tooled the models that they build are.
There are a lot of questions being asked like globally about the AI, like maybe the legal frame, but also will we as human be needed in the future to do jobs? Do you think that certain jobs will disappear?
That's another great question. I don't have a crystal ball. And again, with any new innovation, we see some jobs kind of like changing. So I think, we have to change with it, right? And I'm going to talk about it at this event a lot. I think it's important to upskill and reskill. So I don't think we should block it, and I don't think we should be afraid of it. We should really embrace it and use it as an opportunity to develop new skills so that we can be more competitive in the marketplace, and also we can lead the next generation of initiatives with AI.
You talked about education, and I would like to return there. We see a lot of now in school children doing their homework with AI and maybe not using their knowledge. So do you think that in this field that it's a little bit unsafe to use the AI or not?
Yes, I mean, responsible AI, responsible use of AI is absolutely key, whether you're in a school or an organization. So you need to make sure you have the guardrails, the policies, the processes to really monitor and safeguard the experience both on the input and on the output of the overall process. I would say that we also need to change the way we educate our kids. I think the education system that we have right now is 200 years old. So we need to really think critically how we can integrate technology into education and how we can start integrating AI, mostly as a tool. I think the example that you brought about kids using AI to do their homework, well, is this really a bad thing? It depends. If we still find ways to help them develop their creativity, their critical thinking, I think that's a great way to do it. But if we are training them to just use this tool to do 100% of all of their tasks, probably that's not the right way.
Kur flasim për inteligjencën artificiale, flasim për të me impaktin e saj në sferë multidimensionale. Pra, ajo ndikon në sfera të ndryshme të jetës sonë, duke përfshirë edhe harta të cilat ne i përdorim, apo maps të ndryshme të cilat ne i përdorim në përditshmëri, sidomos kur udhtojmë për të gjetur vende të caktuara apo lokacione të caktuara të cilat nuk mund t'i gjejmë. Unë për vete e përdor shumë shpesh, çdo ditë, edhe për vende brenda Maqedonisë së Veriut, sidomos edhe për në Shkup, për lokacione të caktuara të cilat nuk i di, dhe e di që ka ndihmuar shumë. Por, çfarë bëhet nëse inteligjenca artificiale bëhet pjesë e mapave ose hartave, dhe në këtë rast del në fund një produkt i hartave high definition apo HD, siç e njohim. Për të folur pak më shumë për këto harta, por edhe për inteligjencën artificiale, se në çfarë sfere përdor, si e përdor dhe cilat janë qëndrimet e tij mbi këtë, kemi Christopher Plachenka, i cili do të na flet në këtë drejtim, pra për inteligjencën artificiale dhe lidhjen dhe ndikimin e saj në hartat të cilat ne i përdorim. Ndjekim bisedën së bashku. Okay, so first of all, hello Christopher, and welcome here in North Macedonia. I would like first to ask you how it's being here in this small country of Balkan.
It's beautiful. I enjoyed a lot, especially Skopje. Especially the diversity of buildings, like seeing the new era basically meeting the old one. It's interesting to have a stroll around, and quite impressive statues as well to see.
We have a lot of them.
We saw that yesterday. Yeah.
Yes. We are talking here for AI, artificial intelligence. Tell me, when was the first time that you crossed paths with AI?
That was actually in a lecture of mine, 2000, and I forgot. In my master's, and it was highly inspiring about pattern recognition of my professor, who was actually then also the supervisor of my PhD. So, and he really kind of, lit the spark within me to really wanting to understand the mathematical background in this, and going deeper into deep learning.
And you have been since then working in the AI field?
Yeah, mostly. I started with my master thesis to really dive into the topic. Then I went traveling and got my head free for a while, and then dove back into it with a PhD, where you really have enough time to really dig into the depth of it.
You work and your presentation was on the maps and the connection with AI. We use every day our maps. How regularly do you use your maps, like Google Maps or every other form of map?
So if I use them daily, you mean? Yeah, for sure, Google Maps is a default to-go approach. And I believe the methods in general that we've proposed can be interesting also for change detection in that field as well. However, the maps that we focus on in our research are a special kind of maps. It's called high definition map. It's just like Google Maps, I always say, but just way more detailed. So you get down to every single road marking basically being represented down to centimeter level. So you have a lot of little strokes in your HD map, which need to be verified and which is the basis for the AV to localize itself. And you don't really have like daily encounters with those kind of maps unless you do PhD work or research on them or have anything to do with development.
Yes. Will we be able to have these maps in our everyday use?
I think there's no need to. I think it's really like there, as I was saying, like basically two kinds of maps. There's the SD map, which is standard definition. It's like Google Maps or any other map basically that is on road level, which is just enough for daily business. And a human driver is able to navigate just using these like low-level information maps, because we have that high-level understanding of what is surrounding us. Whereas the AV does not have that high-level reasoning capacity, and thus it needs that low-level map representation to draw any traffic regulations from them or traffic light positions, etc., or lane topology, because otherwise it does not understand. So luckily, we as a human, we don't need those maps.
You mentioned driving, so we especially use maps while driving. How do these maps affect the driving, and do they improve the experience?
Definitely. It's also about like looking beyond what you don't see. So I personally feel that a lot when it's dark outside and I don't know the area that I'm in. I'm like steadily looking at the map, like be it even Google Maps, because it gives me some indications whether I can assume that the turn is coming or not. So on that level, it already helps me, and the same applies basically to automated vehicles.
Are there a connection between self-driving vehicles and these maps and also our standard maps?
Absolutely. Automated vehicles, as I was saying, they need this low-level map representation because they have a lack of this high-level reasoning. So this is why they need to rely on those, but they are also using the layer above the road-level standard definition map for navigation purposes. So for navigation, it's enough because you just need to go from one node to another via some edges, which are the roads. However, for like scene prediction, scene understanding, localization, and all these like more detailed tasks you need high definition maps.